On January 18th of 2013, the Albuquerque City Council passed a resolution to name the Wells Park Gymnasium after one of our heroes, Johnny Tapia, a 5-time world boxing champion. With all the adversity and the difficulties that he was dealt in life, he became an extraordinary champion, not only in the world of boxing, but for the citizens of our community, because everywhere he went, he was an ambassador for Albuquerque and bragged continually on how wonderful Albuquerque was as a city. I believe Johnny and Teresa got married right here at the Wells Park Community Center.
Don't say how long ago, though, okay?
It was 20 years ago, and she's still smiling today. But what a remarkable marriage the two of them had. And with all his adversities and difficulties and the demons that he faced in life, I think it was Teresa that really helped him through all these troubled times to make him the champion that he was. He was knocked down several times with what he dealt with in life, but Johnny Tapia was never knocked out. And I am proud to be standing here today with many of our community leaders, Commissioner De La Cruz, Councilor Benton, Senator Padilla. We have a member of the AMAFCA board, Cynthia Borrejo, with us today. But more importantly, Johnny Tapia's family, who provided Johnny the support that he needed. Unfortunately, on May 27th of 2012, Johnny lost his life to a heart condition. But Johnny's memory will live in our hearts for many, many years to come. And hopefully young kids in this neighborhood and across this state and across this country will realize what Johnny accomplished in his short life. Next to the names of Muhammad Ali, Bobby Foster, and many of the great Hall of Famers one day will be the name of Johnny Tapia. Hopefully that will be in the very, very near future that we see Johnny Tapia as a boxing Hall of Famer. At this time, I would like to acknowledge and recognize members of our community that have made a difference in bringing this event together today. My policy analyst, Elaine Romero, who did a lot of the groundwork in working on getting the plaque put up, Doug Chapman, Jess Martinez, Danny, and the community service director, I believe his name is in here someplace. I don't see it. Sarah is from the community center. But at this time, I'd like to introduce my colleague on the Albuquerque City Council. And I want to thank Ike Ben, who is a great supporter of Johnny's, and also Mayor Berry, who did not veto this legislation. But I'd like to bring Ike Ben forward, say a few words.
Thank you. Thanks, Ken. And Ken spearheaded this, so I'm not going to take too much credit for it, but I'll tell you this. I've always loved this community center. I used to live right around the block. I owned my first home ever here in the Wells Park neighborhood, and it's a great neighborhood. And this little community center is sort of a gem. It's kind of like Johnny, you know. It's not huge or anything, but it's with a huge heart, and that's the way I've always seen Wells Park neighborhood. And I think this is such an appropriate honor to Johnny, who came up here and spent so much time here. And I just want to congratulate everybody who's been involved in the family, Johnny's family, and everybody who was involved with his career. I understand his trainer and everyone that's here today. So anyway, just congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Councilor Benton. Now I would like to invite up the County Commissioner from the South Valley, Art De La Cruz.
Thank you, Councilor. And I want to thank the Councilor for spearheading this also. I want to particularly thank him for inviting me today, because I have a unique story with Johnny, and he always had a special place in my heart, and of course Teresa as well, and the family. Back in 1979 through the late 70s and early 80s, I was a kickboxer, and if for you that are too young and don't remember, this was the mecca. This particular location was where all the kickboxing was held once upon a time in the gym. And so I was a kickboxer back at that time, and I met this troublesome young man by the name of Johnny Tapia. And he was a handful. He was very precocious young man, and so, but he kind of adopted me over the years. I think Teresa knows that, and so every time I would run into Johnny, he was always willing to help the kids, because in another life I was director of Parks and Recreation, so every time he saw me, Johnny would do this. And I always appreciated that. But here's the reality of a young man like Johnny. He was extraordinary. He was not ordinary. He did things that very few human beings on this planet can do. He attained 5 world championships. That is amazing. Who else do we know that did that in this community? And so as Councilor Sanchez said earlier, yes, he did have his difficulties, but at the same time, he raised the bar for Albuquerqueans. He put Albuquerque on the map in terms of a particular athletic event called boxing. And so to that, this city, this county, and me personally will always be indebted to and appreciative of Johnny Tapia. So God bless Johnny Tapia, and thank you, Councilor, for what you've done here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, I would like to invite up State Senator Michael Padilla.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilor, Commissioner, and Councilor Benton. I'm Senator Michael Padilla. I come from the South Valley. I come from the area that Johnny grew up in and practiced in, and he just loved New Mexico so much. Every single time I interacted with him, I can tell you that, his heart didn't belong to himself. It belonged to every one of us. We had a huge matanza in the South Valley, and he had been circling the globe, actually. And he demanded to get off the plane and come right down to Los Padillas to celebrate that time with us. And so I just want to thank, my family, Jerry Padilla, who's here today as well, and Teresa, who is here as well. And I want to ask them to give me their hands, and they want to come together, please. And I just want to let everybody know that this is a family decision and a family thing that is happening here today. And we love every one of you. And thank you very much for celebrating Johnny this way. We love all of you very, very much. Thank you for appreciating our family this way. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. We also have a member of the AMAFCA board here with us today, Cynthia Borrejo.
Thank you and good afternoon. I just want to say that when I was working for the city, I worked in the redevelopment area, and we worked on expanding this community center and this park area. And today's dedication to Johnny Tapia reminds me of when I was growing up with 3 brothers, and they all knew about boxing, and guess what? I had to know about boxing. So Johnny Tapia, 5-time world champion, thank you today. We honor your memory, and having the All Souls Day and the All Saints Day, it's an appropriate time for that. Also, Johnny's legacy lives on, as he has created, and his family have created a lot of programs for our youth, and that is very much what the city needs right now in light of all of the violence. So thank you today, and thank you for honoring Johnny Tapia and his family.
Thank you, Cynthia. Next, I would like to bring up Jerry Padilla to say a few words. Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming out today, but first of all, I want to give the glory and the honor to God for giving us this moment of honoring my son, Johnny. And for another thing I want to do, I want to special thank the city of Albuquerque and Ken Sanchez for spearheading this thing. It was a lot of hard work for 2 years. And also, I want to thank the boxing community for the support that they have given Johnny. He was always so excited about all this stuff that's here at Wells Park. He talked so much about this community, and we appreciate it, and we thank you so much. God bless you. And I also want to say one more thing. I believe that we need to put a helping hand to our community in Albuquerque. I'm extending my hand to help for what's happened, this tragedy in the last couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. I'd also like to invite up Pops was a very close friend of Johnny Tapia. I think he's back there with us someplace to say a few words. He was at all the different hearings that we had on behalf of this agenda item to make this a reality, and I want to thank Pops for all his work and being a close friend of Johnny Tapia.
Thank you.
You know, on the way over, I was thinking, you know, I heard somebody say, it's strange how people die and become saints. And I don't know anybody, Johnny would never say he was a saint, and anybody that knew him knew he wasn't a saint. But he was one heck of a man and one great son. I still love him with all my heart, and I'm glad to see everybody here, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Pops. And now it's an honor for me to introduce to you Johnny Tapia's wife, who I think was a true inspiration in the 20 years that they were married. I think Teresa made a huge difference in Johnny's life, so she is also a 5-time world boxing champion because she stood right there by his side in each and every fight. I mean, I had an opportunity to attend one of the fights in Las Vegas, Nevada, and went to visit Johnny at his home. We were doing a commercial together on graffiti, and Johnny and Teresa opened their home up to me, and they were just so remarkable, and it was just very welcoming. I took my mom to that event, to the house, and my son was there. We got autographs of Johnny, and it was just a remarkable day for my family, and I will never forget that. But it is an honor for me to introduce to you Johnny Tapia's wife, Teresa.
Well, thank you all for being here. As you all know, Johnny loved Albuquerque. He loved his fans more than anything in the world, and to see this, finally come to, physical reality of having this dedicated to him, I think it would have just been such a great, touching honor to him. This is where he grew up, in Wells Park. This is, as Ken pointed out, this is where we were married. This is where his stomping grounds were. This is where there's just lots and lots of memories here. I wanted to acknowledge Johnny's brother Randall, who's here. He was so close to Johnny, and I thank you for being here and never giving up on him. And there's so many people that have cared about Johnny through the years and still do, and I just want to thank and appreciate that. And if Johnny was here, he'd tell you, I'm just Johnny, I'm humble, pray for me. That's what he would tell you, and I'd like to stick to that, just pray for all of us. And Ken was pointing out about the Hall of Fame. I want to let you know Johnny did make the Hall of Fame in Las Vegas, Nevada, along with Muhammad Ali and all the greats. It was a huge honor that was bestowed upon Johnny, and a well-deserved honor on his behalf. And we're still moving forward on movies and projects, and his documentary was nominated, and all that is due to his fans. And I just want to thank each and every one of them. And like I said, please keep us all in your prayers, and let's not forget what this day means to everyone, but especially Johnny, and we all know he's watching down on everyone. Thank you.
Okay, one, two, three.